Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into something really powerful, the legend of the phoenix. You know, that incredible bird consumed by fire, but then it rises again, totally renewed from its own ashes. It's like this ultimate symbol of transformation, right? Birth, death, rebirth, getting through tough times, starting over. But here's the question we're really digging into today. What if that whole fiery cycle isn't just about one person's journey? What if it actually mirrors the really deep, divinely guided path of twin flames?
Oh, that's a fantastic connection to make. And yeah, that's exactly what we're going to unpack in this deep dive.
Hmm.
The material we've looked at really explores this parallel, how the twin flame journey goes from that incredibly intense, fiery start
Right.
through that quieter, maybe even bleak ashes phase of separation,
Yeah, the tough
and
part.
then leads to that destined reunion. It really does seem to echo the whole Phoenix story. We pulled out some core ideas.
Okay, great. Let's start there with the beginning. Twin flames. Anyone who's looked into this knows about that initial connection. Our sources talk about it being like two halves of one soul finally meeting. And it's not just a little spark. It's described as a total explosion. This is the fire, right?
Exactly. And what's really interesting is how our sources frame that fire. It's not just, hearts and flowers. It's presented as this period of massive spiritual awakening, intense recognition, but also often really chaotic, all-consuming energy.
Chaotic how?
Well, the idea is that this fire's purpose is actually to burn away the old stuff, old wounds, deep fears that forces both people to face, like every shadow they have, even things maybe inherited, ancestral patterns, subconscious contracts, stuff like that.
So deep generational stuff too.
Potentially, yes. It's framed as this cleansing, transformative fire. It's clearing the ground, essentially getting each soul ready for what comes next, their
Yeah.
higher purpose.
Okay, so a really intense, purifying fire. But like you said, even the biggest fires burn down eventually. And that leads into what can be a really difficult phase, the separation, the ashes.
Mm-hmm.
People often talk about the runner-chaser dynamic here. The fire dies down and it feels like only ashes are left.
Right. And a key point our material makes is that this absence, this feeling of ashes, it's not actually a failure of the connection.
Okay.
It's framed as a totally necessary spiritual shedding, like an alchemical process almost.
Oh,
It's this quiet, sometimes really painful time where each person has to grow on their own in solitude.
so the runner-chaser isn't just running away.
Not merely avoidance, according to these sources. It's more like a divinely timed, energetic thing. One person's unhealed stuff creates dissonance, which pushes the other away. That pushing away, that retreat, creates the space needed for that deep individual work, forging refinement in the ashes, you could say.
So the separation forces the internal work that maybe couldn't happen when they were together in that initial fire.
Exactly. Our sources talk about needing to do the deep internal work then. Things like ego dissolution.
Ego dissolution. What does that look like in this context? Is it just becoming humble?
It seems to be deeper than just humility. The material describes it as really stripping away the conditioned self, the persona, the societal programming, all the stuff that hides the authentic soul. It takes radical inner honesty, looking at every attachment, especially to outside approval, and letting it go. So in this ashes phase, you're forced to release old patterns and really rely on your own inner light. It's about self-purification, essentially.
That sounds incredibly challenging, but vital, it seems. So you go through the fire, you sit in the ashes, do the work. How does the cycle complete? How does the phoenix actually rise again?
Yeah, this is the culmination. The sources suggest that when both people have truly done that healing work, when they've surrendered to the process and aligned with their higher purpose, then divine timing, divine orchestration, whatever you want to call it, leads them back together to the rebirth.
Ah, the reunion.
Right. And they rise from those ashes of the past. Pain, the separation. But it's not just about getting back together as they were. Our sources describe them rising as a unified force, ready for their collective mission, whatever that might be.
So it's more than just rekindling the romance.
Much more. It's presented as the outcome of all that individual transformation. Their souls are now aligned for a shared purpose.
That's a really powerful way to look at it. It definitely elevates the whole twin flame idea beyond just, intense romance. It makes it this sacred, cyclical journey of spiritual growth.
Exactly.
And it really highlights how those painful times, the separation, the ashes, are just as important as the fiery union moments.
Absolutely. Every single phase has its purpose in this model. The pain isn't pointless. It's part of the purification and strengthening.
So the big takeaway here, drawing from the Phoenix and twin flames, Maybe it's that the death of something, like a dynamic ending or a separation, isn't always final. It can be a sacred shedding, a necessary step before a truly glorious, maybe even predestined rebirth. Something to think about, perhaps, what parts of your own life might be in that phoenix cycle right now. Burning down, maybe, but preparing for a rise.